Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So, what I wanted to go over is how to quickly create thumbnail sketches and concept sketches while using the Armature A9RIG as reference. Now, when I usually draw from the Armature, I rarely do it from a photograph. I'd much rather draw it in person from life because then your eyes are seeing it in 3 dimensions. When you're drawing from a photograph, it can be really easy to end up with very flat 2-dimensional drawings. But for the sake of these tutorials, obviously it's much easier to work with a photograph. And we have monthly contests where we provide you with these photographs so that you can use them either for yourself, or for your commercial projects, or for submitting contest entries. And since this month is about monsters, I'm going to do a few monsters based on some of these photos. So what I did is I went into Facebook, into that gallery called Marketing Images in our Facebook page, and I copied that image and I brought it into Photoshop, and I'm isolating these 2 poses because I'm going to work with them first. And essentially what I do is I generate sort of a gestural study from the photograph. I don't really want to spend too much time. I just really want to capture the essence of all the angles and the subtle tilts and shifts in perspective. It's obviously you don't want to miss those things because that's kind of the entire point of the Armature, is it gives you a very faithful view of what the human anatomy proportions look like in perspective. So you can see on that one there how there's this very subtle tilt in the pelvis, and capturing the angle of the torso there, how it's rotated relative to the pelvis, is very, very important. But you can capture a lot of this with really simple and quick brush strokes. And so that's essentially what I'm doing. I'm just blocking it in and trying to get rid of the references as quickly as possible so that I can assess my gestural study as a gestural study. And the cool thing about this is that you could potentially just generate a whole library of these and save them for use or reuse later on to create all sorts of cool concepts. And as you know from looking at the human figure in real life, we all share the same skeleton, but our body types are dramatically different. And so you can achieve very unique silhouettes while still using the exact same source skeleton as reference. So what I'm doing now is just using a bigger brush to block in the overall shape and silhouette of the character design. And I'm going to try to come up with something subtly different with each one, maybe explore some different body types and concepts. But you could actually use the A9 Armature to give you a feel for how a single character might look like from different angles. In fact, you can customize the Armature and change the proportions. So if you have a character you have designed already and you want to match those proportions, you could generate an Armature with those exact proportions and then use it for all of your turnarounds of that character. So here I've isolated my 4 favorites from that set, and now I'm going to flesh them out and block in some details with a smaller brush. And I'm still working pretty quick because obviously I don't have my rough sketch is just blocking in the basic silhouette. So I'm now I have to really flesh out what this concept actually is. So that guy is going to be like a torso that lunges at you and eats you. And I like working iteratively like this. So I start with the rough gestures. I go in and put in rough, bigger brushed gestures, and then I go over the top of that with a smaller brush and block in some ideas for details. And once I've got one that I like, I iterate on it even further. So I lower the opacity and then go in with an even smaller brush and start to explore some smaller detail ideas. In some ways, when I create concept art, it's almost like I want to generate a cloud of information and then try to see what I can see from that cloud, sort of to stimulate my imagination. You've probably done this where you look at the clouds in the sky and you see shapes and you can draw them pretty faithfully, and then you look at your drawing and realize, wow, I would have never come up with that, had I just closed my eyes and try to, think of an idea. And so when I come up with concepts, I really like to build sort of a rough cloud of information and kind of try to stimulate my imagination so I can see and pull something from it. And what these armatures provide you is really the proportionality of the human form in perspective. And it provides a really great starting point for building clouds on top of that and generating concepts from it. So I'm iterating yet again. I lowered the opacity of that drawing, and now I'm fleshing out the details a little further, trying to get a good sense of the three-dimensionality in the anatomy, and fleshing it out. That's the finished design or study. So I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments. Message me on facebook.com/armature9. Submit entries. We have monthly contests, and we're giving out free bipeds every month. So come check us out, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.